up, everyone? Welcome back to another EU4 32 Tech Time Lapse. In today's country, I was trying to pick which one we wanted to do, and, I thought to myself, we already know that Poland can into space, but what if Poland is already in space? So one of the things I'm interested to see here early on, if Poland does get the union with Lithuania, or if they just decide to eat Lithuania, because honestly, that might actually be the faster way to go about it. It appears they're already starting to take their provinces, their vassals that they have around them, and actually it looked like for a second I thought some expansion from Novgorod. I do believe Poland is already pushing into Hungary, so that'll be interesting. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that they did get the union with Lithuania. Otherwise, I think that they'd be pushing that territory quickly. And if that is the case, then not only was Poland already like the strongest country in the game because we buffed them, but they immediately just become broken. Just absolutely broken. Going on in the rest of the world is sort of as we would expect. I'm not really seeing anything super out of the normal. The Ottomans are expanding. Oh, Poland is pushing into Lithuania. Okay. So Poland is going to take them the aggressive way. Morocco is doing really well in West Africa, so that's something to keep an eye on over there. Actually, the Ottomans, oh snap. I was just about to point out that the Ottomans are not doing great, and it's because the Balkans are being occupied by Poland. So, not going to be a very strong Ottoman game. Korea is doing really solid, and I was just about to point out that Ming is doing well, and obviously, once again, they just decided to implode the moment I thought, hey, let's compliment Korea and how well they're doing. Is that Spain in Greece? Why in the world is Spain? I don't know. I have no questions. I mean, I have lots of questions, but I believe Austria got the Burgundian inheritance, so this could have been a really strong Austria game if we didn't just nuke their ability to do anything with Poland. The Ottomans are officially just falling apart. I mean, that was bound to happen, but it appears that someone has forced them to release Greece, so not a country we see very often, and they're actually managing to get some territory, so that's a pretty solid job. And actually, you know what, thinking about it, if that was Poland that released Greece, that is a 32 tech Greece. And the only reason I'm even thinking that might be a possibility is they appear to be expanding. So that's something to keep an eye on, because that is a really solid Greece so far. Spain is the primary colonizer, and by primary, I mean they're like the only one colonizing. I did not realize Portugal is gone. Also, France is gone. What in the world happened to Western Europe? This is absolutely bizarre. There's some weird stuff going on here. The Ottomans have been replaced by, I'm not exactly sure who that is, I can't really read it, but we'll zoom in afterwards and take a look at who exactly replaced the Ottomans. Russia is looking like they are going to be a powerhouse. And we do have, I was just about to say for a second there, it looked like we had some new colonial powers, but they just became Florida, which is Spanish. So I don't really know. The English appear to be trying to get into the colonial game in Colombia, but I do think it's going to be a little bit too late. That New World is going to be incredibly Spanish. And what in the world is happening with Greece? Yeah, Greece is going to town. England also seemed like they were much more focused on expanding in Europe. That English-French region is absolutely a mess, an absolute mess. But they've expanded their territory, their ground holdings in Europe. Greece appears to be continuing to expand in that North African region. Asia, I would say that there's something unique happening, but honestly, this is a pretty standard Asia game. I gotta do a time lapse soon where we change things up in Asia, because this is pretty standard that Asia kind of just implodes on itself, and then Bengal ends up being the dominant force in Asia. Doesn't matter which one of the Chinese nations that pop out of Ming is the strongest. Bengal will always dominate that region. Occasionally Delhi, but it's usually one of the two of them. Greece continuing to expand. That's amazing. I absolutely love that. And I don't know. They're not allied to Poland. They're actually beating Poland. They just took a huge chunk of territory from Poland. I don't know how they managed to pull this off, or they have been formed likely by Poland and then ended up stronger than them, it looks like. I'm not exactly sure. The Spanish have managed to finish their colonial game, which is literally just take everything. They've got Africa, North Africa, they've got South Africa, they've got Madagascar that looks like they've got Australia, they've got both of the Americas. This is one of the most dominant colonial games I have ever seen from one power. And it's because they got rid of Portugal, and England just didn't. It took England way too long to get into the colonial game. Greece continues to expand. They're now down into the Horn of Africa. I'm guessing maybe they're allied with QQ. Maybe they're now allied with Poland. I don't know what the alliances are and everything here. I do know, oh my goodness, I did see one thing when I had loaded stuff up and I saw that Greece was in existence. They have a personal union over, I believe, Circassa, which is not a big deal. And I think maybe Russia, although they just fell apart. Wow, they got hit hard at the very end there. They were doing so well and then lost a huge chunk of territory to Poland, lost the Mamluks. That is unfortunate because that's probably where they're going to end up, where they had such, that ability to be that really strong Greece at the end and were not able to put it together. I do find it interesting that Poland did not form the Commonwealth. They are just Poland. They are happy being Poland. Russia just exploded, and there's the Commonwealth. Like a year before time ended, they formed the Commonwealth, and Russia fell apart, and this is a mess. Let's take a look. So first thing to note with this mess that is Greece, they do have Russia and Circassa as junior partners, so I was correct about that, but when they imploded, it seemed like Russia also imploded. They must have been at war, and they do appear right now. They're in multiple wars that they're losing. They must have gotten invaded by the Commonwealth, and things went downhill from there. Europe is interesting. So the Commonwealth is sort of what we would expect. It's parts of Germany and then most of the Commonwealth lands. They didn't really expand much beyond that other than going into Anatolia. That pink that's in France, that is Milan. So Milan went crazy in northern Italy and moving into France. Dauphine, I don't know if I've seen Dauphine before. That is a new one, or at least that's the strongest I've ever seen them. And then we also have the AI formed Westphalia. I love how Dai Viet still exists, even with the encroachment of Bengal. They're in southern China, but they do still exist. This Greek West Siberia, which I have no clue how they were able to even get this territory in the first place, because I don't remember them having territory expanding this far, is absolutely amazing. They must have used Russia, their junior partner, and then taken territory, and they just have a random piece of Siberia. I just want to point out, that is a strong Rwanda. That's kind of cool. I'm honestly kind of scared to see how dominant this Spain is. Yes, Poland did take Iceland, because why not? I love seeing countries we don't see very often, and I think this Ake, I don't know how to pronounce it. Ace, I have no clue. That's not one we see with that much sort of a power base very often, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, the British did do some colonial game. It was just really far away in the British Moluccas. I thought that this was Korea, but nope, that is Greek Manchuria. Why? Religiously, the world is very Catholic, but my favorite part about this is the fact that Greece was Orthodox. There is actually a very strong Orthodox power base in that Eastern Mediterranean region. Egypt is almost entirely Orthodox, and so is that Syrian region. Culturally, the New World is very, very, very Spanish. The rest of the world is sort of as we would expect it to be. What surprised me the most is that South African Frisian. I did not expect to see Frisia in South Africa during this run, but hey, they decided to do it. Dynastically, there's actually not a lot of dynasties because we got Poland isn't a dynasty, Spain isn't a dynasty, so all their holdings aren't dynasties, the United States isn't a dynasty. And the most surprising of all of them, Greece is not a dynasty. But they have Circassa and Russia as junior partners, so they must have at some point been Grantamirovs, or else some weird stuff happened and a democracy was able to get two junior partners. I have no clue what happened there. Africa is devoid. And actually, Spain did a pretty good job with South America developing that. North America is sort of what we'd expect it, but that African eastern coastline around the Horn down to southern Africa is almost devoid of all development. And finally, our 8 great powers of the world. We've got revolutionary Spain with 5,300, revolutionary Commonwealth with 3,900, revolutionary Greece with 2,945, Bengal 1908, Quora at 1520, revolutionary Milan at 1453, Mexico at 1156, and Great Britain in the 8th spot with 1104. I love that there are 4 revolutionary countries on this list. A lot of times we only see 1 or 2. To see 4 of them means a lot more reading for me, but that's pretty cool to see the AI decide to really go hard on revolutionary in this run. And with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate all the support you guys give with these videos. Do make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We continue to be on the push to 1,000. We need like 420 more subscribers, so make sure to hit that button, hit that subscribe, hit that like button, share this video with everyone and anyone that you know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Wreath out.